Everybody, good morning. Welcome to the show. Hey, Kimberly. Kimberly, my favorite subscribers here, along with Ivan, David, Don, Sergio, Will, Lieutenant Colonel Goose, David, Arturo, Rob, Scott, another Rob, Rob. Rob's in the chat today. Donald, Terry, Craig. I see Erdy and subscribers like Larry and Robert and Francois, Jay, Jan, Christy, Cohen, don't recognize your name, but welcome to the stream. General Rush, good to see you, sir. And Darren, Mad, David, and Andrew. Welcome, everybody. So, Tesla, guess what? Dropped so far. Remember, the average drop 13, almost 14%. So, here we are hanging out at 6%. So, we might have another 20 bucks to go. Down, down, down. To support. We'll see. I guess that, technically 20 bucks down, 190. Right in there, maybe. 290, excuse me. Yeah, we'll see. My 287 put, probably going to be pretty profitable today, unless this thing just opens up and flushes the toilet. But big support right down there, 265 to 275. And Rongamer, we got it. We're on it, baby. All right. Yeah. Well, so all time on K-Info, as Sergio says, congratulations. You've got to, you look at the 1 month. I am in the top 500 right here. I'm actually at rank number 90 for the month. Boom. 90th. I'm in the top 100. Think about that. For this month, for the last month, the last 30 days. Join the leaderboard. Come down here. And we look where we're at. I'm sitting at number 90. Right there. $14,000 profit. Locked in. Verified. Not bad. Not bad. Right? Not bad. Jumping back over my profile. 3 month. Let's see what we got. Rank number 110 for the 3 month. So not that worse. Not that much worse. What does that tell you? It tells you most people have their profit in 1 month. And they're not very consistent over 3 months. Right there. So that's pretty wild. Back to the leaderboard. Roll down. 110. See where we're at. Dun, 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 dun. There we are. Isn't that wild? I just got started. I'm like in the top 100 people that post on K-Info. And it's not like there's just a few hundred people here. There are thousands of people on this leaderboard. And I'm up near the top just after 3 months. Isn't that crazy? I started out near the top in the beginning. But especially if you search by winning trades. Down a little bit. I dropped off a little bit because I booked a few I guess the way it counts losses, if you get in and out for the same price, it counts it as a loss. So it pushed me down with my win rate. So I'm at 18th for winning trades. Average gain, number 5, average gain. This is on a 3-month leaderboard. 1 year, I still am shy of making the leaderboard. Need a few more trades. Go down, look at the 1 year. I'm at 79 trades this year. So I need like 21 more trades. All time though, we're about to be listed on the all-time leaderboard. I need 4 more trades. And I got 4 open. Right there. Yeah, Sledge looking strong too. Sledge is up there. Got lots of people following. Got Sledge in here. Got good numbers too. Let's see, we jump him on the 1 month. There you go, number 200. So congratulations, Captain Sledge. Yeah, you got Goose in there. His numbers are all over the place because he brought over a portfolio, and they do weird things when you bring in a portfolio. So, Lieutenant Colonel Goose. So, people that share their stuff right there on there. It's powerful when you share your stuff, when you got to be publicly accountable. So yesterday we booked out this trade right there. It shows it July 17th. I guess because that's the day I opened it, whatever. Booked out that profit, added it to. Moving on. Like I rolled out of that and rolled into a Tesla put yesterday. I posted it on X. Sold that put at 287.50. Brought in about 75 cents credit. It's probably going to be profitable today. Maybe even able to close it out. We'll see. I might hold it. I don't know. It'd be pretty sweet to get put shares down here and turn that around because the premium on this baby is fat, even when there's no earnings coming up. So there you go. There we go. Thanks for coming, everybody. Now, back to the main subject of the day. Meme stock craze, short squeeze stuff. Dun, 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 dun. Let's make it bigger so we can see it. So this is the highest short interest stuff, and this is 1 month returns. 2021. We're getting the biggest short squeeze, meme squeeze, pop thing. Look at this over here. Interesting. 2008, as we were coming to the bottom. Now, as of note, what happened after we got this big pop? If we see this thing continue to break on out in irrational exuberance, meme stock, the basket of most shorted by Goldman Sachs, if this thing continues to rip higher, look what happened. We went from extreme high to extreme low. Ugh. And that was right at the beginning of January, or right at the beginning of 2021. And then this happened, and then we went into the correction in 2022. So if we push, crazy can keep being crazy, right? Now, look at this one. Interesting, each one shrinks up. So this is high short interest. And this is 10-day average retail investor participation percentage. So we're seeing, even in high short interest stuff, we're only seeing 21% of retail traders actually participate here. Low short interest stuff, retail traders are actually, historically, retail traders participate more in things that have low short interest. We want to make money, right? But right now, retail traders are participating more in high short interest stuff. It's kind of crazy. Sure, this will probably end well, I'm sure. We've been grinding it up too. Look, we started this late last year. That's where the juice is right now. And then this is quants. All right, this is systemic long short trade managers. This is tracked by Goldman Sachs. They're actually sitting in a loss right now. One of the biggest losses they've had. These guys don't like to lose, right? With their systemic long short trading. These are quants, algorithms, smart people. They don't like to lose, but they're down right now. In a drawdown. Mostly on the back of that meme stuff and the fact that the market looks cooked. This Russell 2000 S&P 500 ratio. This has got Goldman Sachs meme stock basket thrown in here. The meme stock basket is actually outperforming the Russell over S&P 500 ratio. So we're seeing this thing push. This was back from 2021. Right, we had the peak excitement, and then erosion. We got a peak excitement, a big drop, and then we had a secondary pop. That's GME for you right there from back in 2021. Just to remind you how this thing played out last time. Right there. Alrighty. So, moral of the story, probably not going to last. If you're chasing these crazy names, especially stuff that just, traditionally doesn't make good sense, Bitcoin treasuries, all these new things coming on, this hype bubble train thing probably going to end, but we may not be to the end yet. All right. That's just a warning that we're approaching maximum crazy, as they call it. Right? We're getting up here, but we still have room to go. Crazy can keep being more crazy. That's back to the old adage: the market can remain irrational way longer than you can stay solvent. So, if you think that was interesting, let me know. If you don't like that content, let me know. I don't see anybody else talking about that sort of stuff. So, well, that just pretty wild. We stayed right in there, pushing right at the limit. Funny how that works, right? Market makers tend to know. Market makers tend to know. Now, here's one. Got this one a little not so right at this point. I sold the 49. There's the market opening. Sold the 49 right in here. So I'm underwater. This may go lower. I'll probably put the shares, but we'll see. Like, it may find a bottom and bounce. We'll see what happens. All right, we'll see what happens. It was always a possibility that this wasn't done yet and we needed more downside. Always a possibility. So what's the plan? If I take shares at 49, I won't sell any other put against it. I'll try to sell calls, upside calls, but I won't sell any put against it until we're roughly 30% underwater, which would be all the way down here. So 34 would be where I would take evasive action to try to fix the position. It's back down below that support over there. I don't really see it going down that low. At least not right yet. I think we'll probably get a bounce. Especially if we hold a higher low. Probably get a bounce. Maybe to a lower high. I'm going to be wrong and we're going to go down here eventually. I'll probably be out if we do that kind of bounce. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. That was on the biggest decliners list. Google also reporting earnings. Popping. I've got this. I need to flip over to the other chart. It's got all the current drawings on it. We're up into that gap down. Turning red here. Watch out. Pattern's still intact. Pattern's still intact. ES grinding on. Oh, look at that. Right up in there. Love it. Let's hide that. New high, new ride. 60. Look at that. 63, 65. There we are. Got the target. Anybody doubted me for the last couple weeks? I told you we're going here. What happens next? We'll talk about that as we wrap up the show. Bias for the day, what I expect. We'll jump in that and look at it a little tighter. Overnight action set us up for the pop, despite big tech kind of eroding a little bit. I guess Google popping, Tesla dropping. Interesting. We've got Amazon, Apple coming up next week. This looks like we may be setting up for for a little bit of softness here the next little while. We'll talk about that more at the end. NQ hasn't actually hit that upside target yet. Still a little shy. So may have a little more juice on the upside. On NQ, Big Tech may have a little bit of upside in store. Russell popped up, pushed in the limit, actually made a higher high. Meme stock craze, a lot of those are in the Russell. So we're seeing this, but that's a big 3-wave thing right there. But based on this, we'll probably push it on up. Right there. Based on that chart, based on the pattern, we'll probably push it on up. It's like 70% likely, 75% likely. Oil, churn and churn and churn and burn and burn and burn and just grinding on the support below the resistance. No indication of what we're doing yet. Gold. That's a bummer. If we break down below this trend line, there's a big chance that we're going to take a big spill right there. Potential 1, 2, or an A, B, probably a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why? Because if that's the absolute beautiful correction setup, ABC, C waves, got to be 5 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, what proportions could we expect if that's the way this is going to unfold? Let's kind of look at it a little tighter here. So we made initial move down and a retrace, went a little deep, but didn't exceed the 0 point. That keeps it intact for a wave 2. If it had exceeded the top of the B wave, it would not be a potential wave 2. 1, 2. The wave 3, if it's going to be a wave 3, right here is the expectation target. Right at the roadmap line. Probably see a little bounce and then a final flush, maybe down to 29.80. This could play out well into the fall, potentially. Saw some analysts saying gold is definitely going to 4,100 next. That's going to be a big shocker if it goes to 20 or back to 3,000. Anyway. I'm long gold. I got in the trade. Upside potential still there. We could break out. We could go on up here and make the higher high. It's entirely possible we go up to 36. We hold this uptrend, just revisiting, and we bounce and we go on up here. That's entirely possible. Entirely possible. So it's not like it's a lost cause. There's the downside. There's the upside. 3,600 on the upside. That's the resistance. Of course, we have the prior high also at 3,500. And then downside down here around 31. And then 3,000, maybe the ultimate right there. We'll see what happens. As you can see, this found support a little higher than I thought. I thought we'd push further down on the retrace. And then the push higher, the retrace of the retrace, we're up higher. So this brings all the target up a little bit. If this stays intact right here, if this high stays intact and we break down below this, that's what you can expect. All right, Bitcoin. Just grinding, baby. More grinding. Can't seem to do anything. Non-committal. So we set the range here. There's the low. That's support. We dip below it. That makes this a bigger ABC, which is what it's starting to look like. We a lot of times need that final push lower before we start ripping. So when we go into one of these consolidations, we may sit here for a little while, churn and churn and churn and burn and burn and burn, and people with leverage and then we get a final spike down, and then we take off. Index Ethereum. Let's see what we got here. Yeah. So still churning. Still churning. XRP. Still churning. That one did roadmap bounce. Came up shy of the target. Could come all the way back down to the roadmap line before we bounce higher. This is getting into resistance though. Major resistance. Not really expecting that to push much more higher than 413. Could go up to 5, but it's very unlikely at this point. I mean, crazy can be crazy, so I never count it out. NKD sticking the breakout so far, but not breaking higher. Kind of rejecting the push into the prior high. It may take it a couple days to pop through that. If we do, we'll probably see more upside in the markets with bigger liquidity. The target's up here around 48 to 53. If we can break out on that global liquidity. Right there. Dollar. Ooh. Pushed on down. So if we get below the $97 area, looks like $96.90, probably tipping the odds we're going to make a lower low on that trend line area right there, around 96. It's just splitting pennies at this point. If we can hold this area, we're going to have to break back above. There's a 618 sitting in here on this retrace. Break back above that, probably setting up for the rally to the roadmap line on the daily there, around 101. As far as what do I expect? Well, we're in a pretty severe downtrend, so downtrend will continue until the reversal confirms. That's why I always am careful getting involved in something until the reversal confirms right there. Dun, dun, dun. Apple still grinding the roadmap line. Amazon pushing a little higher. Be careful. If we roll, this thing's going to be violent. And we could push this on up into the 257 area and still get the first move down, second move down. Similar to the way Meta is set up right now. First move down, second move down. It did make a slightly higher high. Still has this potential. That's not a 1-2. That's an A, B, C type potential. Then Google. This might reject that gap down. Remember all the things I've said about gaps. It took a long time to come back up to this gap. Poked into it. People that got long here just want to get the fudge out. Can cause a pullback. First support right here at the roadmap line around 175. Microsoft is on a different path. If we get that bigger pullback in big tech, we may see Microsoft come back, retest the breakouts before we push higher. I keep saying the same thing every day because these are the patterns. NVIDIA may also do the same thing. We may tag that 177 area, 176, 177 before we roll back down and retest the breakouts. This one has a double top right there to retest. So nice firm level of supports. And then we push higher, potentially up to 200. That'd be spicy on NVIDIA. Tesla, pushing on down. So the average move is 13% down. That doesn't mean that this move, the average is the average. I don't have the, maybe I should run the standard deviation on that. Tell you what the, right there it is. Let's run the standard deviation really quickly. If EE sum if count if C and I don't know how to do the standard deviation on a complicated thing. I'll have to get back to you on that one. I actually did a big complicated formula to extract the average negative. Well, there's a lot of if then things in there, and I'll have to do a little magic on that one too, because some if I don't think it'll just do the standard deviation on that. Let's see. See if it will on this. Can you do it? No, cannot. You can't just do the standard deviation on my complicated cell. So anyway, I'll figure that out and let you know later. So 13% average. Let's see where we would be. It's actually 14%, 14.6. So right there, right at my 275, right at the top of my support zone. And if we come all the way down there, probably going to make a lower low than that low. So it'll probably be outperformance right down there, that big 618 zone. Right in there. Right in there. Now, is it log mode or is it not log mode? That makes a pretty big difference on this one. Almost $10 difference. I don't know which one it is. Maybe. That's why I keep saying 270. Not log mode, 270. Log mode, 262. 263. 262. So, I don't know. Be careful. Not a lot of difference on the roadmap line, but it does make a big difference on that fib line, that 618. That's why I call them fuzzy zones. You never know exactly which way, log mode, not log mode. Really depends on the algorithms. How do you know? You don't until it consistently respects those levels. Now I use log mode because everything looks better to me on the big picture patterns that we've had since all the way back here on log mode, but maybe there's some new algorithms and they're not programmed for log mode. So algorithms use math. That's the way they trade. That's why this stuff works. Netflix probably coming back down to the roadmap line. See if this thing erodes on down over the next few days. All right, I go pull all the gainers. Things moving up, $2 more. Put them on the gainers list. I pull the decliners. Things moving down, $2 more. Put them on the decliners list. And we check it out. And reminder, we have a few more earnings this week. American Airlines came out today. Intel, Newmont Mining, EDM, Decker's out, Decker's brand, a few other things, Orchid Island, BOYD. Got a few things tomorrow, not a lot. And then we'll be on to next week. I don't have a fancy one of these yet for next week. When I do, I'll post it in Discord. There you go. Probably come out sometime tomorrow. It's usually when it gets posted, sometime tomorrow. Alrighty. Hey JT, don't want to ask stuff during your analysis because you asked the person who's responsible for recruiting for the training lab to come back at me. Wrote in a request already. Sorry for asking. So it's a sales team. There's not necessarily one person. I don't know who got assigned to you. I can check on it, but I'll see. If you're interested in Termite Trading Lab, the link is in the description, just in case anybody wants to know. I can check on it. So possible for an ABC correction on Netflix. All right, look at these. Let's start with the decliners because maybe there's better stuff. Oh my goodness, look at that. Whoo. So there's support here, and if we don't hold it, support down here. Beautiful correction right there. Who said we might pull back on IBM? Huh? I don't know. MOH, Molina Healthcare, hunting that bottom, way down low. Obviously, this is getting a little more bearish here. 165 support, but that if we bounce and we could push down to 121 there. And we'll see. UNH, oh, guess what? Little softness here. Still have that bigger target on down. Check on a couple other bearish ones here. DPZ. And bros. Come on, break that roadmap line. Come on. Break the roadmap line. We're coming down here probably. Oh, yeah. Come on. Extender on down there. Maybe get down here. All right, back to the, oh, look at that. Healthcare just keeps getting whacked. Honeywell. Back to the roadmap line. Watch for that to hit support. We tag it. Break back through the gap down. That'll be good for going on up to 250. CMG. Yeah, that got hit, but I'm looking for this to hold here. I'm not panicking. I'm not doing anything. I was willing to take these shares because of the bigger pattern that was in place. Just a reminder, we zoom out. This kind of big upside here. Potential. I've talked about the fact we may retrace on earnings. 49 was my guess because that was the 618. And it had good premium. Really good premium. So you might be like, well, you got that one wrong. Yes and no. We'll see. Maybe I got it wrong. Maybe I didn't. If this just retraces in here, holds, and turns back higher, maybe I get put shares. And like Rocket Lab, we take off, and I turn that into a big upside. It's kind of the goal. Be down where you think it's going to find support. Catch it. And then ride it back higher. Humana. Grind and grind and grind. LKQ. Aftermarket automotive. So this, how do you start a chart? You always find the high and the low is what I tell people. It's like, here's the low, and then here is the high. And then you start doing your work from there. So I take the fib tool, run it from the low to the high. Where is the support on this correction? Right down here. Now the question is this log mode or is it not log mode? If it's not log mode, we're already there. If it is log mode, we've got further downside. So we could already be there. Like this may be it. Like we run this fib line, that fib line, that fib line. Like we're already in the zone to be done. We're already hitting the 618. This could be a bottom. Break back above the roadmap line. Find supports. Turn higher. Like that. QBTX. I'm just not a fan of quantum computing stuff. It's going to keep being crazy. Like I said, back to the start of the conversation about most shorted stuff, meme stock stuff, everything in quantum computing would qualify for that for me. STM, getting whacked. If we can hold this vicinity right here, or we consolidated, turn back higher, get above the 618, fill the gap. That's bullish for STM. Look at the, let's see, pull this up to the top. Yeah, we may come just a little bit lower here. Right there. May come on down just a bit more. And log mode, not log mode, it seems to be generally the same area. Pretty close. So I would be watching for that to hold. If you think it's going to be bullish, start selling puts now. I'm cautious on this, quite honestly. Be cautious. This kind of held the downtrend of highs. So I really want to see this turn back higher. I would be much more confident with a breakout retest of the downtrend and then a break higher for going bullish on STM. CLPG coming back down to the roadmap line. People got caught and now it's not looking too hot. LYB bouncing off the roadmap line. That's still bearish. Be careful. Dow. Just grinding in here. Saw something about Dia yesterday. Nothing particularly spicy there. R&R. Casualty insurance. That looks like we're working on 5 down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Probably going to get a lower low. Then we'll probably work on a corrective move up. That's probably some sort of A wave, B wave, and this has a longer correction in store, more than likely. Be careful on that one. On Simi, probably coming back to the roadmap line, as I mentioned. This pattern, come back, hold support if we can hold it. Beautiful setup to come on up here. GDXU, probably coming back to the roadmap line. XXRP, getting whacked. This Kava, bouncing off, glancing off. This is probably in sympathy of CMG. These two run kind of in the same vein. They have kind of the same customer base. Funny enough, I've been in a Chipotle, but I've never eaten at a Chipotle. We went in one in Charleston, South Carolina, so the kids could go to the bathroom when they were little. That was a long time ago. But I've never eaten there. Never even gotten a drink. We just went in, used the bathroom, left. This one, potential 5 down, so that's an A. Potential B. Absolutely beautiful. If we turn down, could be a correction. Let's see. So I'd watch out on consumer discretionary and all the associated underlyings. Be careful. What are the underlyings? Come over here, look at the holdings. Amazon, Tesla, HD, Booking, McDonald's, TJX, Lowe's, Spux, Nike. So, I mean, it could go either way. Like, some of these I'm bullish on, some of these I'm not. We'll see. That's a 2x long on Tesla, getting whacked. Circle. Remember what I said. If we break down below this consolidation, hype bubble can pop. Now, IPOs, typically bearish, even though we had the, like, no way, that's bullish. Well, it's a corrective pattern. We have no idea how the chart came into this right here. Maybe it was hyped up here. We came down. This was just a correction, and we're starting down. That's typically the way this works. We have a sky-high valuation before we go public, and then we actually find the real valuation somewhere down here, correct it out. So that's just the psychology of going public. Flex. Looks like we're coming into resistance. Probably going to come back down here. VKTX hitting our head on the roadmap line. 3 waves up. Be careful if we can extend it. Back test and hold. That'd be more bullish. This is a cautionary point on this potential reversal here off the lows. We need to see this come on up to 43. This is one. I think this is on my bullish list. It's in one of my notes to watch it. I didn't actually put it on the list yet. So why? Because it's biotech pharma. I don't like biotech pharma, but I'll trade it if there's a good enough opportunity. It's just a big red flag for me. So that's the level I want to see it hit up here, 43. Then retrace, hold that, then break out. That's what I want to see. Otherwise, if we just come up and hit 36, it's probably going lower low. And that one's getting whacked. And Iridium. Let's see, TSLQ. I'm just curious here. If you had listened to me yesterday when I said it was bearish and we might get a move, like 70% of the time, we get a move down. You could have booked out 16% on shares. Not too bad right there. Vanek Rare Earth. This might rock and roll. I mean, stratosphere level will be up here at like 82. That'd be an epic move without a correction, but it could do it. I mean, less than 1% of stuff will do a move like that. That'd be this little baby pop continuation. Less than 1% of moves, but then you're in for a wicked kind of pullback before the next move. And this thing does wicked moves, so don't think we can't do that. PSIX. That went exponential. Chopping. What comes next? Dropping. Doesn't have to, but that's typically the pattern. Burke. Thank you. Alerts. Must be 10 o'clock. Yep. Birkenstock. Man, that's choppy. Probably eventually going to come down here. Like I said, IPOs typically start out corrective. Right? That's A, B, C. Right to the corrective level. A, B. I don't know. It's probably going to come down here. That's choppy, overlapping, and probably going to come down here in the 30s before we go higher. Gooks. 2x low. 2x long on Alphabet. I jumped up to the gainers list somewhere in there. TSO, Tractor Supply. Watch out for the top. GGLL, Google Long, coming into resistance. ALB. This one might actually be turning around. Like we might actually stick it. We've the big resistance right up here, 110. We need to back test some support. Like right now, this is just a choppy start and a push through the roadmap line. We've done a push through the roadmap line before, and we've also gone lower low. Need this to back test it from above and actually push through the downtrend of highs that we've had. Trend lines are the weakest form of technical analysis, but that's pretty solid. Reject, 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 reject. What's going to happen? That was Head and Shoulders target. We went way below it. Now, can we build something off of that, or do we reject and make a lower low? Next target down on the downside. It is quite a bit down, like 50% downside almost. Right down to here. AVGO. Popped up, but grind and can't. It seems to be struggling here a little bit. We have a 320 upside. If it can push it on up. T-Mobile, look at that. Guess what? Breaking out, baby. They announced the launch of Starlink yesterday. They call it T. Instead of T-Mobile, they call it like T-Star. You can add T-Star to your plan or something like that. global cell phone coverage. Spotify. Looks like that needs to correct back down to the roadmap line, despite being on the poppers list. Now, yeah, we're getting a good little churn today. So now, there's the high, here's the low. Potential to go higher. And see anything else in here worth talking about? No. Setups for the day. Then we'll talk about what do I expect out of the day. Let's see. We've got this high. We've got this low. There's the entry. 77 is the target. 31 trades. 64. Net loser. I'd probably stay away from that. AGYS. Here's the high. Here's the low. There's the entry. 123.80. 36. Good. 80. Good. Better than 2. This one's got everything I look for. That's check plus. Check plus. Check plus. That's a good one. Upside target 123.80. Right in there. It's not even a big move that would take to hit that target. AME. Here's the high. Here's the low. 59, 84, 1.5. That's the only, that's better than average, but it's not above 2. So this is check plus, check plus, check. It's another good one right there. Looking for 185.69 on the target. AZN, AstraZeneca. 28, not quite 30. 53, net loser. Already in the trade. I would be very careful getting involved in this one, but 76 if you want the smaller bounce. If you want the bigger bounce, that's a, excuse me, Peach talking back to me. That's a bigger target. Dun, 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 dun. BL. There's 16 of these today. That's quite a bit. You'd be like, which ones are the best ones? That's what we're looking for. Here's the high. Here's the low. Any of them are like, why do I put them out every day? Because any of them are likely to work. Like, historically, across 15,000 trades, 74% of the time we're going up here. Right? If you just look at the big long-term statistics, like that doesn't matter. That is right on pace with the average. And this one actually is cooking, but doesn't matter because this doesn't matter over here. So some tickers tend to trend, do that trend pullback continuation pattern better than others. And that's why when I've got 30, a statistical population, like we had up here on these, like that one's got 60. This one trend pullbacks and continues a lot. And it works out 85% of the time with about a 1.5 profit factor. So it tends to win bigger than it loses. For every dollar you lose, you make 59 cents or 60 cents. That's pretty good. This one, for every dollar you lose, you make $1.26. 86% of the time you win, 36. So this one tends to oscillate. You know, some of these don't tend to oscillate, or they're new and don't have much history. You know, that one, new, relatively new. Doesn't have a lot of history. This one does have the history of not working. All right. So historically, this one tends to not work less than the average across 15,000 trades. And it's a net loser. So for every dollar you lose, you only make 66 cents back. So you've lost, 34 cents on average, 33 cents. Not great. That's why I look at the statistics. But sometimes, like when there's only 3 trades, that doesn't mean anything. 30 is a statistical population. If you want to know why, go take a statistics class, brilliant.org or whatever. 3, not. So none of these really matter. So back to the historical average 74% of the time. Likely to work out. Profit factor 1.2 on average. $17.50 target on that one. COUR, Coursera. Heard a lot of people talking about this one the last couple months. $9.69 upside target. CPay. Already in the trade back here. Doesn't negate the setup. Right there's the setup. 361 targets. 1681, 2.4. Even though this has been consolidating here, this may go to the bigger upside target, which would be, JT had to figure it out. You just take the fib line here, run for the high, down to the low. There was your entry. We're below the entry. You could get a better entry now. Target up here at 420. Now, that may take 6 months or longer to work out. But the beef. Where's the beef? Got the high, got the low. 45.97 targets. Looks like I closed the statistics. 1861, 7. Not particularly speaking to me. GMAB. That already hit the target. That one's done. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Winner. That was the entry and exit all in one right there. So nothing you could have done for that one. HCSG. So we've got the high. We've got the low. Got the entry potential. And 16 is the target. 25, 88, 3 point like this. So even with 5 losers, this is still probably going to be above the, right at 80 right there. With that smoking hot win rates, this one's probably going to work out. 16. And it might not. It might fail. But those kind of numbers speak to me. That's pulling meaning out of something that's, doesn't have a full population, but can get you in trouble. Trader discretion is advised. MCS 27, pretty close. 62, below average. Net loser, don't like it. Target 1905. MOD. Ooh, that one stopped out right there, but set up another entry. There's the high, there's the low. Net loser. Be careful. PNRG right here. I don't like the downtrend of the roadmap line, but doesn't like negate the pattern. Right there, 209.41. PPC. Here's the high, here's the low. Now, this is going to be a difference between my Discord alert running fib lines and stuff based on scientific numbers and TradingView running everything based on financial numbers. This coming up just shy of the entry. There's the target. You may want to wait for it to poke above that 618 on TradingView before you take anything. Caution there. Unify. And it has a... We had the bigger setup back here, and now we have the smaller setup right here. Entry and a 3360 target right there. So my bias for the day for all of you still hanging out, all 90 or so of you, give me a thumbs up if you like the content. Do appreciate it. And we're at the target, so I would be cautious. Very, very cautious. We hit the 1618. We can push this on up. If we're going to keep being irrational, next resistance is up here, 6,500. And 15-minute roadmap line bounce. Boom, right there. Worked out. These work on all time frames. Look at that. That's 1, 2 in a row, 3 in a row right there. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Works till it don't. And be careful. That's getting to be extreme. Didn't even hardly slow down at any of the fib line levels, although it did kind of consolidate a few minutes, I guess, a couple hours. Struggle there, struggle there, struggle there. If we're going on up, 63.91, 64. But I would expect, it would not surprise me for things to start turning more sour now that we've hit this 63, 65 level that I've been looking for a long time. That'd be the first supports. 6,300. Does it have to turn down today? No. No. We could just churn here. We could just grind this. Like I said, the NASDAQ may be the one driving the train since we came up shy of the targets. Probably keep an eye on this one. We could pop up to that 22,300. And then turn sour. They were probably set up for a bigger correction. I would trim the sails and set the path. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming. Thanks for supporting me. I do have a show at 3 o'clock. Should have started out with this. I'm doing a guest speaking spot at 3 o'clock. Help me out greatly if you came and hung out. Throw the link in the chat. It is register, so I'd use a disposable email address so you don't get a bunch of marketing from a bunch of people. Right there. There you go. Come join me, 3 o'clock. We'll hang out and do the same sort of stuff. Like, I actually might take requests even. So come hang out. We'll see you later. Bye for now.